Welcome back, everyone, to the channel. This is Decoding with Cody, and today is March 3rd, 2026. And I hope everyone is having a great day. This is a live stream, and we are going to do another decode today, as usual. Please let me know in the live stream chat if the sound's coming through. We already got the confirmation from Coffee Girl. Thank you, Coffee Girl, as always. Hello to everyone, Mr. S and Birdie Bear. And who else is here? Milika Gruchik. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, but thank you for being here as well. Snake Eyes, hello. Golden Age, hello. What's up? Thank you, Golden Age, for asking people to hit that subscribe and like button. Appreciate you. I hope you guys are all doing well today. And in this live stream, we're going to talk about the world and just how crazy it is sometimes, this world. I mean, it's some of these things that happen on a daily basis, when you really look into the connections between them and the numbers and the symbolism, you really realize that this world is absolutely always perfectly planned, perfectly set out in front of us, like we're all walking on a predestined stage almost sometimes. And this whole thing that's going down right now in the world, of course, is just another indication of that, with the attack on Iran, which really is going to cause. We're going to talk a lot about the oil here. Well, not a lot, but we're going to talk about how the oil is going to be affected, which could affect the whole world's economy, right? So just kind of like COVID, this kind of thing could affect gas prices, plane prices, food prices. But this is all for a reason. It's almost like the you'll own nothing and be happy, right? Kind of, and that, of course, comes from the WEF, which connects us to what we're going to talk about in this stream, which is the Z word. And I'm not going to try to say this word too much because I think it'll get me in more trouble than that will help me. But this is, I've never really talked so much about the Z's on this. We're going to call them the Z's. I haven't talked too much about them on this channel, but definitely going to be a topic about this decode because as I started looking more into it, I realized, as most of you probably already had a hunch, this is really closely tied to that kind of movement. And we're going to talk about Israel and Trump, and how Trump is clearly the chosen one for Israel, it seems. And it just seems like that is the narrative that's playing out here. So please sit back and relax, grab yourself a beverage, coffee or a tea or whatever you guys enjoy, and let's get into this decode. And thank you to the 98 of you in here. Please hit those like buttons if you enjoy the content, and let's get into it. So let's talk about the first thing here. We have the blood moon today, right? We have this very significant astrological event, and we know that the people that have power in the world, they know the astrology, they know the blood moons, they follow the blood moons, they follow the eclipses, and this is no different. This attack on Israel the other day was an eclipse ritual. It was an eclipse. It was always planned to be this way, folks. And this blood moon was obviously a tribute to their chosen man, Donald Trump, who was born on a blood moon, and in fact was born on a very significant blood moon. And I'm going to show you in this decode, just how interesting Donald Trump's birthday is in connection to the blood moon. Now, we all know that he's born on a blood moon, and we all know that he's connected to Aleister Crowley also, who talked about a moon child. And it's no doubt that Trump is the moon child and is the chosen one, per se. I'm not saying for us, but for them, he is the chosen one to bring about this NW. You guys know what, right? I'm going to try to be careful with how I say these things. But the point is that everything that Trump is doing to create the chaos is to create this new world. And you guys know that this new world is so important to these people, right? And of course, this has something to do with the third temple, of course, as well. We're having an eclipse today on 3-3, kind of like the third temple, right? So I believe this also connects to the third temple, the three, which Donald Trump will have a part in, I believe. And of course, we remember when, let me just start with this. Okay. Let me just start with this. I'm going to kind of jump to the end of my slides. But how many times have we talked about Donald Trump and his basically him being the chosen Jewish savior on the world stage? I'm not saying he's the real savior, of course, not at all, but on the world stage, he is here to bring about this. And remember, when Trump visited the Western Wall back in 2017, I believe, 2018 or 2017, I can't remember now, but it was all about the number 424. Remember, he touched the wall at 4:24 p.m. Now, why did he touch the wall at 4:24? Because in Hebrew, and remember, Hebrew, you get gematria, comes from the Hebrew. In the Hebrew gematria, you guys can see here that if you spell out Messiah ben David or Messiach ben David, in Jewish, it sums to 424. Okay. Now, interestingly enough, that in Hebrew gematria, if you take the name Donald Trump, okay, and you take and translate it to Hebrew, you're going to get the same gematria, 424. So the reason I'm covering this now is just to remind you guys that Trump is he is the chosen one to touch the wall at 424, and his name equaling Messiah ben David in Jewish gematria. And remember, Charlie Kirk was taken out supposedly 424 days after Trump was shot. Okay, and this number is so important to this part of the riddle here, is that the 424. Now, remember, a lot of people are saying that Trump is being used by Jerusalem, by Israel to take out their enemies. And of course, isn't that what isn't that a perfect scenario for their chosen one? And yeah, so no other president has ever done this. You know, they say that for years Israel has tried to get the United States to take out Iran, and now finally it's Trump who gets to be the chosen guy to do it. And we'll see what happens from here. But again, this is all tied back to that theme. I just wanted to start the decode with that because it's a very important part of this. Now, of course, this goes back to Israel. Now, Israel connects to this word. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the Z word. Okay, we're going to just use this abbreviation because I am a bit, like I said, I am a bit cautious about this stuff. And you guys can see on the screen what I mean by the Z word. Okay, now Trump was the chosen one, right? He's the chosen one of Israel. And notice that Trump is all about the blood moon. Okay, Trump is born on a blood moon, and just days before the blood moon, just 3 days before the blood moon, he takes his time. He and Israel attack Iran. Okay, and again, remember the 3 days before, as I predicted the day before, I thought that 3 days before would be the best day for them to do this because it's all about the threes and the third temple and how it's all connected to Jesus, of course. All goes back to Jesus, the crucified at 33, 3 days and 3 nights, rose after 3 days, right? But again, the third temple, the third world war, all these threes, okay? Now notice that this word, this Z word, has gematria of 105, 42, and 39. This just happens to be a perfect gematria match to the word blood moon, okay? And so is it an interesting thing that Israel's chosen one for the Z words is born on a blood moon? And isn't it interesting that just days before a blood moon, this all goes down with Iran and Israel? And again, in the only cipher where blood moon does not equal the Z word, it equals 138. You see how there's one cipher where it does not equal blood moon, right? Well, in gematria, look at what Donald Trump equals in gematria, 138. So How perfect is that? Trump born on a blood moon. The only cipher that the Z word does not equal the same as blood moon is the cipher where Trump is 138. So you guys see how perfect that is, how that aligns perfectly with the word and also with Trump. And that's not a coincidence. Again, he's born on the blood moon. So, but look at this. The article yesterday in CNN was Trump tells CNN the big wave is yet to come in the war with Iran. And this is super interesting because, first of all, look at the gematria of the phrase in quotations, okay? Quotations, when you see an article with a quotation mark around it, it usually means it's coded. So what do? You type in the word big wave and look at what it equals. Big wave, okay, equals eclipse. I mean, what are the odds, guys? They posted this right before the eclipse, the blood moon eclipse, and it's just a coincidence, I'm sure, that big wave sums to eclipse in all four ciphers. Now, going back to this slide where I talked about the blood moon equaling the Z word, well, check out the last name of the guy who pioneered the Z word, right? Herzl. Theodore Herzl, right? So Herzl equals eclipse, and he equals big wave. See the two cipher match here, 69 and 33. Well, here's our 33s again. Remember when I showed you guys back in my stream a few days ago, I was talking about this 3-3 blood moon, right? I was talking about how eclipse equals 33, and it's all tied to the 303 days left in the year. The eclipse happens at 3:33. The peak illumination is at 3:33. And remember, I laid out this timeline for you showing that the Islamic calendar and the Hebrew calendar were both on the 9/11 for the Islamic and the 6/11 for the Hebrew. And it was 33 years and 3 days after the World Trade Center bombing, okay, to the attack, right? And then it was 3 days later that the blood moon happens on 3/3. And it was 33 years exactly from the Hebrew Islamic calendar. The last time this calendar lined up like this, it was 33 years to tomorrow. So watch out for tomorrow, guys, because again, tomorrow, even though it's not 3/3 anymore, it will be 33 years after the calendar aligned in 1993. So anyway, back to what we're talking about here. And guys, remember how I showed you this Israeli actress died 33 days before the blood moon on 3/3 today? And her name, Berkovich, in Chaldean equaled 33. And her age on that day broke down to 105, which is the blood moon in Gematria. You guys remember this, right? I was doing this before the attack on Israel, and I had showed you guys that this actress had died 33 days before today, okay? And then I showed you how this guy connecting to the movie Blood, he also had that, that 33 stuff. So anyway, go back and watch that decode. But the main point was, let me just go back here. So back to the 33, we're talking about big wave. That's what they're calling it, the big wave. It equals eclipse. It equals Herzl. All these things equal 33 in Gematria. Now, here's where it gets interesting, is a big wave is also known as a tsunami. Okay, when you say, yeah, you can decode the word big wave, but when you actually decode the word tsunami, which is another word for a big wave, look at the gematria of Trump and tsunami. So isn't it perfect wording that they called this a big wave and Trump is a 4-cipher match in 4 of the very important ciphers? And these are not just the base ciphers, guys. These are 4 different ciphers that are very hard to get matches in. So the fact that we get a 4-cipher match here with Trump and tsunami. Now remember, this Super Bowl logo for next year is a wave. You guys remember that? It's a, let me just show you that. Super Bowl 61. You guys might remember this big wave on the Super Bowl logo next year. And now CNN and Trump is talking about a big wave. So, guys, I mean, watch out for actual tsunamis and earthquakes in the coming days and months. I have no doubt that we're getting close to another big one of those. So watch out for that, because it's obvious that the coding is there for a big wave event. And that could also be with the financial system as well, as I've talked about before. But again, we have this wave symbolism being played out. Another thing is, notice the 700s, okay? Notice how Trump equals 700 and tsunami equals 700. Well, before I get to that, let's just talk about Trump's blood moon. I'm going to go a little off topic or a little out of order here, but Trump's blood moon is so significant, okay? So here on the page, I have Trump's birthday, and I have all of the eclipses. So these numbers here on the bottom line here, the 340, the 15, the 15, the 340, and the two 177s. This is a measurement of all the eclipse around Donald Trump's birthday. So for instance, and thank you to this new tool that was created by Kate over at Gematrinator, we can now see how the eclipses line up with the date. So again, Trump was born 15 days after an annular eclipse and 15 days before another annular eclipse. He was born 340 days before a solar eclipse and 340 days after a solar eclipse. And of course, he was born 177 days before a blood moon and another 177 days after a blood moon. So do you guys see how important this date is? And let me just tell you something. I went through all of the blood moons in the since 1700 and something, and there was only one other blood moon that has this perfect symmetrical alignment, okay? I know you guys might not understand this perfectly, but again, this is just, it's hard for me to explain how interesting this is. Again, here's Trump's birthday, right? And you can see these alignments here. Let me just make this a little bigger. You can see these alignments. Now, if I go to the next blood moon, right? If I click this and I go forward to the next blood moon, you're going to see that there is not an alignment here, okay? Now, remember, this is how Trump's looked. All right? But you guys can see that there is not an alignment, okay? There's not a perfect symmetrical alignment with the eclipses around that eclipse. Also, if I click it forward again, there's not a perfect alignment with the dates again, okay? And again, if we go back to Trump's birthday, we'll see that there is a perfect symmetrical alignment with Trump's birthday, okay? And I've never seen anyone else point this out. Not only was he born on a blood moon, he was born on a perfectly symmetrical point between all of the eclipses in that time, okay? Again, 15 on either side, 340 on either side, and 177 on either side. And again, I only found one other eclipse. Let me just go to my notes. Let me find this here. So here's all of the dates where there's very close to a symmetrical alignment with the eclipses, but there's only one date where, other than Trump's birthday, where the eclipse is symmetrical, okay? And there's only one other date, and that is 7/16/2000, okay? So if anyone can find anything significant about July 16, 2000, this is the only other date in the since 1700 something. I mean, there might be more before that, and there might be more after, but I went from 1700 or 1823 to 2036. I went to all the blood moons between those dates, and only one time, other than Trump's birthday, was there another eclipse like that, okay? Let me just pull that up, 7/16/2000, okay? I'll just keep Trump's eclipse in there on this side, and then I'll go to the year 2000, and I'll show you what I mean. So here we go again. You guys see how the symmetrical alignment of the eclipses was perfect also on July 16, 2000. And again, I'm sure there's other eclipses if you go far back enough in history, But in our modern time, Trump's birthday and this date are the only 2 days that I can find. So to me, this is very significant. Also, just brings the importance of why Trump is who he is. And that's kind of what I just wanted to go over here because, again, Trump is born on a perfect alignment of eclipses. That's the gist of it, okay? Now, considering that we are now on another blood moon eclipse, how Trump was born on a blood moon, check this out. From the guy who innovated and basically founded the Z word, right? And when I talk about the Z word, I'm talking about this word. So Herzl, if he was okay, so from the day he died to today is exactly 1460 months, guys. Exactly 1460 months to today's blood moon. Now, why is that so crazy? Well, Theodore Herzl equals 146. And again, if you drop the zeros, you get 146 here. But what is that, guys? What is the 146? That's Trump's birthday. So on today's blood moon, Herzl will have been dead for 1460 months exactly. And again, that is the gematria of Theodore Herzl, and that is the birthday of Donald Trump. Okay? And look at the day's date on the Hebrew calendar. This is what makes it even more significant. Today is 6/14 on the Hebrew calendar, the 6-month 14th day, which means today is 14/6. So you're telling me that somehow Herzl has been dead for 14/6 months on today, 14/6 on the Hebrew calendar, and he was the guy that advocated for the Z words, and now Trump is the one advocating for the Z words, essentially. And again, his name, Theodore Herzl, has that same gematria. So how crazy of an alignment this is, okay? Another interesting thing about today is not only 14/6 or 6/14 on the Hebrew calendar, today is 9/14 on the Islamic calendar. And you remember just a few days ago, it was 6/11 on the Hebrew, or 6/11 on the Hebrew and 9/11 on the Islamic. But whose birthday is 9/14? Because today is 9/14 on the Islamic calendar. Well, look whose birthday, the new Pope. So today, the blood moon on the Hebrew and Islamic calendar, it's Trump's birthday and it's the Pope's birthday. I mean, wow. I mean, what's the odds of that? And again, we just got the new Pope last year. This is a new Pope, the first American Pope. Here's the American president, right? So what are the odds that both of their birthdays are on the calendars on this day, right? And just what are the odds that it was 9/11 and 6/11 the other day? Again, we got to start watching these calendars now. I'm proving that this is a new method that we need to be watching, okay? I'm always trying to take the decoding to another level, and I believe this is another level, okay? It's pretty clear. Now, but let's just bring this all together. I've been talking about the Z's, right? Look at this, folks. From Trump's birth to the founding of Israel, which was all connected with Theodore Herzl, right, is 700 days. What is the gematria of Trump? 700. And what is the gematria of the Z word? In Fibonacci, 700. I mean, just absolutely absurd if you really put this into perspective. What are the odds of that? Okay? He's born exactly 700 days. And that's the gematria of Trump and the Z word. So, I mean, I think this kind of brings it. I mean, I think this is all you really need to see, right? I mean, what else do you need to see? The 700 Club. Yeah, I want to talk about that because you guys know the 700 Club, right? And how the 700 Club connects to Israel. All right. So Trump is the 700 Club. He's born 700 days before Israel. And let me just see what that equals. Oh my gosh, look at that. The 700 Club, 33. This is the number that's been so important the last days. And again, how many 33s did I just show you? I mean, there you go. So today is 3-3. Yeah, I mean, this guy right here. So funny enough, guys, the guy who founded the 700 Club is Robertson, and that's my last name. That's a little bit weird to me. Pat Robertson. My last name is Robertson. I mean, let's see how many days it's been since Pat Robertson died. Let me just take a quick look at that here. Let's see. So he died on June 8th, 2023. So just 6 days before Trump's birthday. So let's just go to the attack. Oh my, that's interesting. So the attack was 996 days after Pat Robertson died. Huh. Interesting. That is interesting. That's like a 666 there. But let's go to today. So today is 999 days since he died? Whoa. Guys, this is huge. Pat Robertson died 999 days ago. Guys, so that means he's been dead a span of 1,000 days. I had this in my notes. Look at this. I had this in my notes. Trump was born 1,000 days before the end of the Arab and Israeli war. So the Arab and Israeli war. So just keep that in mind, guys. Pat Robertson has been dead 1,000 days as of today. Trump, if you go from Trump's birth to the end of the Israeli-Arab war, which was brought out of the creation of Israel, check this out. The last day of the war. 1,000 days, guys. You see this? 1,000 days is how old Trump was. Let me just bring that up. Arab and Israeli war. Hold on. So I'm talking about this, okay? March 10th, 1949. That Trump was 1,000 days old on the end of this. Again, he was born 700 days before Israel, and he was 1,000 days old on the end of this. So the fact that Pat Robertson from the 700 Club has been dead 1,000 days today is just absolutely wild. Again, it's the same date. And again, 1,000 is a perfectly even number. So anyway, I'm going to have to look more into that. But yeah, this is the point, guys. 700 is the gematria of Trump, is the gematria of the Z word. And again, Trump born 700 days before. But check this out. Theodore Herzl, the guy who pioneered the Z word, right? Check out how old he was on the last day of the Z word Congress. Okay, I'll just show you this. The first Z Congress. It ended on, last day was August 31st, 1897. And look how old Herzl was. And again, it was Herzl who was the one who arranged this. Okay. And look how old he was. He was exactly 1948 weeks old on that day. Guys, when was Israel founded? It was founded in the year 1948. Yeah, and Migu's in the chat talking about sorry I'm missing a lot of comments, guys. I'm trying to get through the info here. But 1948, like Charles B. Day. Yeah, he's born in 1948 as well, King Charles. I am going to mention King Charles here in a little bit because I just saw an article today that goes with the fact that I'm really thinking King Charles is about ready to be replaced or step down. But yeah, look at this. How perfect. Do you think this stuff isn't perfectly placed out, guys? What are the odds that the founder of the Z's, who founded this conference, was exactly 1948 weeks old on the day of the conference, and then in years later, in the year 1948, his dream of creating Israel would be taken out in 1948. I mean, what's the odds of that? Okay? This is absolutely astronomical low odds. But now I want to talk about the big number that I believe is missing out of all that I haven't seen many people talk about. I haven't even noticed this number before, but look at this. So remember, on the attack the other day, there was a big number called the number 315. So why is the 315 so important? Well, first of all, let's talk about Caesar. Caesar was killed on 315, right? This was an assassination on this day of the president of Iran, or the supreme leader of Iran. Well, the supreme leader of Iran was taken out 315 days after his birthday. Well, why is that so important? Well, because when you combine the names of the two leaders who carried out this attack on Israel. Is Kate in the house? Oh, I'm glad Kate's here. Give a big shout out to Kate for creating this great tool that has really been opening up so many things for me. Just absolutely, I love your tool, Kate, and I just love having more information and more ways to find things. So it's just really been a blessing. But yeah, the two leaders, Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump, sums to 315. These are the two leaders that took out the guy 315 days after his birthday. But check this out. Look at the gematria of the World Z organization, 315. It's in the same cipher as Elimination Chamber. Now, why am I bringing Elimination Chamber? Because on the day of the attack, I already did a whole decode on this. On the day of the attack, WWE, like 333, like World War III, they were holding an event in Chicago, where the Pope's from, called Elimination Chamber on the day this guy died, 315 days after his birthday. Elimination Chamber, 315. What are the odds? What are the odds? 315 Elimination Chamber is a direct match in the same cipher as World Z organization, okay? Now, as I was putting together this decode about the 315, I was watching Trump on the White House feed, meeting with the guy from Germany, Friedrich Merz. Think about Germany, Switzerland, Austria, all in this area where they had this first. Notice where the first Z Congress was. It was in Basel, Switzerland, and Switzerland, Germany, Austria, all in that same area. Very interesting part of the world for sure. Well, Trump is today on the blood moon with Friedrich. Now, why is he with Friedrich? And just so you guys know, I don't think I'm going to play this, but if you guys go watch this clip here, Trump starts talking about the United Kingdom, and he starts talking about how the United Kingdom is basically a failure. And he then starts talking about how his mother is from Scotland or the UK. And he says his father, he gets ready to say, my father is from there, but he stops himself because his father was not born in the UK. His grandfather was born in Germany. But his grandfather's name was, what was his father's and grandfather's name? Frederick. Now, who's the guy he's sitting beside today? Frederick. And as he's talking about his father, Trump, he looks over and he says, Frederick, he knows all about my father. This was so coded, folks, because I was sitting here watching this saying, are you kidding me? Trump's going to be talking about his family here, and then he's going to turn to the guy named Friedrich and say, my father, and saying that the guy who's also named Friedrich knows all about my father? And again, Friedrich is the name of his grandfather who came from Germany. And in fact, doesn't this, to me, I'm not saying it's the same guy, people, but there's some similarities between like the head shape and the hair of this guy and this Frederick, right? I mean, I'm not saying they're the same. I'm not saying they look exactly alike or anything. I'm just saying, this guy needs to cut off his hair here, because what is this little patch of hair here? Anyway, the point is, both of them are named Friedrich, both of them from Germany. Trump talking about his family, right? Coming back to what I've talked so much recently about Trump's mother and how coded she is. Go back and watch my decodes from the last month about Trump's mother. And again, he starts talking about his family. So, but look at this. So I just told you this whole thing was about the 315. Okay. And it's all about the 315. And check this out. 315. I was doing this decode on 315. And look at the gematria of the guy Trump's meeting with today. Oh, I forgot to say, also with this 315, Friedrich March. Okay, I'll have to look at that. Oh, hold on. Migu in the chat is saying I need to look up a guy named Frederick March. Is Garo blocked? I don't think so. If he is blocked, I need to unblock him. I don't know how to do that. I need to go in my back office and I'll check and see. Why is Garo trying to comment? Is Garo trying to comment here? Somebody's saying today is 9999 weeks after the Spanish Inquisition. That's interesting. So anyway, I just want to try to hit all these things here. Migu is saying that Friedrich March was born on 8/31/1897. Hold on. Friedrich March, again, in German, März, like the guy Trump is meeting with today, is März, which sounds a lot like March. Okay, of course, we're in the month of March. Okay, I'm gonna look into this. I don't want Garo being blocked for sure. Because again, I have no problem with Garo. I want Garo to be able to add his stuff here. So I'll unblock him if he is blocked, but just give me a second here. Frederick March, okay? And this guy's born. Are you kidding me, guys? Frederick March is born on the day of the Congress for the first Z. Look, guys, August 31st, 1897. And this guy, Frederick March, is born on that very same day. What in the world? And again, Trump is meeting with Frederick Merz today, which is essentially the same thing. I'm absolutely blown away. Wow. I'm absolutely blown away, man. Do you guys get that? That this guy has the same name as the German chancellor, essentially. And I'm just finding out that he's born on the very day of this First Z Congress. A huge find. Huge find for Migu in the chat. Make sure you guys go subscribe to his channel. But wow. Amazing. Anyway, let me finish this 315. This is going to be the slobber knocker, guys. So look at this. Israel today is 77 years, 293 days old, the 114th star number. Yeah, I saw that. Good one, Migu. Let me get to that. But remind me about that in 5 minutes. I want to finish this 315 stuff here. So check this out. Again, World Z Organization, 315. Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump, both equal 315. Okay. This attack on Iran was 31 weeks and 5 days before the third anniversary of the October 7th attacks on Israel. So another 315. But Trump, he's meeting with Merz now. Look at this. The full name of the guy he's meeting with, this is just confirmation, guys. Joachim Friedrich Martin Joseph Merz equals 315. And not only that, guys, he's born on the 315th day of the year. Again, this is the Z number. This is the gematria of the World Z Organization. Trump's meeting with a guy now today who's got a gematria of 315, and he's born on the 315th day of the year. I mean, just absolutely astounding, folks. And again, I was doing this 315 code before I knew Trump was meeting with a guy whose name who has the 315. So it just proves that this is a huge number. Yeah, World War Z, right? And that brings me to another very important point. The Strait of Hormuz with the Z at the end. Notice that all these things have Z's in them. Like Friedrich Merz, he's got the Z at the end of his name. We're in the year 2026. Is Z not the 26th letter, folks? Are we in World War Z? Okay. Merz with the Z at the end. You got the Z word, what I've been talking about in this, right? And what's the last letter of the guy who essentially founded this? It's his name is Herzl. Well, Herzl has that. There's not a lot of names and words that have a Z in them, but Herzl also has a Z in it. Okay. So yeah, I mean, World War Z, right? It kind of feels like, World War Z. Interesting. Another thing I wanted to point out here is look at the gematria of the World Z Organization. 333. Guys, what was the time of the peak of the blood moon today? March 3rd. Get ready for the shift. The blood moon rises at 3:33. You see that? 3:33. I'm trying to find where it actually says this. Anyway, it was 3:33. That's the point. The eclipse is on 3:3. It rose at 3:33. And look at the gematria of this. It equals 333. So, I mean, just wow. Just wow. Anyway, so remind me again. Oh, here's another interesting thing. Remember how Trump was born 700 days before the founding of Israel, which Trump equals 700 and Zion, this word equals 700. Well, I went back 700 days from the blood moon, and I went on this page here. You know how this win calendar where it tells you what happened on these certain days? And it was just interesting to me that when I went back to this site here, let me just pull up the site because I favorited it. I went back 700 days from today, and the first thing it gave me was April 2nd, 2024. And the first post that was like when I go to this page, the first thing that comes up is a post about the Z's. Look. And it's from a Twitter page named Censored Man. And he posted this 700 days ago, like Trump was born 700 days before the Israel. What are the odds, guys, that when you go 700 days back, it lands on this day, and the first post it gives me in the win calendar is this post? And again, it's about exactly what I'm talking about. It's about the Z's from 1948. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, why is it giving me this post here? And I'm going back 700 days, and I never thought I'd just find this. Like, what the heck? Anyway, I thought that was crazy. Oh, shoot. Did I just take out my slides? Shoot, I just took out my slides. Sorry, guys. Hold on one moment. I'm losing it here, as Garo would say. Let me get back into my slides. Thank you to all the 272 who are still sticking around and watching me mess around here because I did not mean to delete my slides. Let's see. All right. Anyway, 700 days before today, you land on this day, and it has a post about the Z's, right? And then again, Trump born 700 days before Israel. So, and we looked into the 700 club that connects to the Z's as well, and Israel, of course. Another number that's super important with this is the 64. I mean, there's so many 64s. Notice how the current head of the World Z organization is Doran Perez, who just happens to equal 64. And Israel equals 64. Zion equals 64. And if you abbreviate the WZO, it equals 64. Now, they held this first Z conference in Basel, Switzerland, and that equals 64. Yeah, Zach, I'm not saying I saw you talking about the 700 Club, but I didn't steal any of your specific finds. And by the way, the guy who founded the 700 Club, Zach, has my last name, so I don't know. Anyway, what was I gonna say? I mean, you also shared my 9/11 thing on your page after you told me it was dumb, and then you shared it on your page and didn't say anything about me because you don't like me. I get it, but I have nothing against you. I just, I didn't steal anything from you. If I would have gotten an actual connection from you, I would have said. But anyway, going back to this, one last slide here. Trump, 424 in Jewish gematria. Donald Trump equals 424. And Messiah ben David in Hebrew equals 424. Trump is the chosen one for Israel. That's why he's carrying out this thing here. And today is 6/14 on the Hebrew calendar, which is the blood moon. That's Trump's birthday. Theodore Herzl has been dead 1460 months. Like Theodore Herzl equals 146. Anyway, hey, Migu, what was that thing you were saying earlier? You had shared something pretty remarkable in the chat. Oh, another thing I want to talk about real fast. I had seen, you guys know how I've been talking about William replacing King Charles. And this post came up in my news feed today. This post came up in my news feed today after all the stuff that me and Migo have been talking about. Gematria book on YouTube. That's his YouTube channel. We've been talking about, and thanks to him for pointing this out about the Super Bowl being connected to Prince William. And look at the news article today. King Charles may step aside for Prince William sooner than expected. It says here, if rumors are believed, King Charles has already, in effect, passed the crown to Prince William, just not on paper. For months, there has been an understanding in royal circles that Prince of Wales is carrying the weight of the monarchy in all but name. Now, according to royal expert Rob Shutter, palace courtiers are finally beginning to speak more openly about many insiders see as an inevitable shift. Anyway, the possibility that Charles could hand over the throne within the next 12 months is, they say, being treated as a serious, structured discussion. So, guys, have we not been talking about how the Super Bowl was connected to Prince William becoming the king? And now you get this story coming up on my feed from the Royal Observer. And again, remember how I was talking about the 315s, guys? Check out the gematria of Prince William of Wales. Look at this. Oh my goodness. We get another 315 in the same cipher as the World Z organization. And remember, on the same day of this attack, WWE was holding an event called Elimination Chamber. And check out how Elimination Chamber equals 315. And at the Elimination Chamber, they debuted a guy named Williams. And I have a bunch of wrestlers right now that are tied to Prince William. I have a whole decode showing how the WWE is debuting all these wrestlers in connection to Prince William. And I just found out later that he also has the 315. And again, what number have I been talking about? Okay. So they debuted a wrestler named The Ruler. Let me just go through a few of those. Oba Femi. These are all black wrestlers, which is interesting. There's something going on with the blackness and tying into Prince William. But Oba Femi, he's known as The Ruler. Okay? The other guy they debuted is Trick Williams. Trick Williams. Okay? He's going to be the new star of the WWE, guys. Is it a coincidence that the new star of the WWE is going to be a guy named Williams? They also debuted another guy named Javon Evans. And notice, I don't know why it's not coming up. Javon Evans. Notice that Javon Evans, in this show the other night at Elimination Chamber, they accidentally called this guy Javon Williams. And it was no mistake, guys. They called him William because his two names are Welsh. Okay, Javon is a Welsh name, and Evans is a Welsh name, and both of these names come from the name Ifan, which is Welsh for John. So essentially, this guy's name is John. Okay, that's how you know these names are chosen perfectly, because his name is literally two Welsh names, and both of these names go back to the Welsh name Ifan, which is John. Okay, so his name is John. But other than that, his name is Javon. Notice the V. Kind of like how if William becomes king, he will be the fifth. Kind of like the V in the middle of this guy's name. Both of his names are 5 letters. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, V is also the fifth Roman numeral. So you got the fifth and you got all the fives going on here, okay? Anyway, this is not the point of this decode, but I'm just telling you that the fact that Prince William of Wales equals 315, just more proof that this stuff is all connected to William and his eventual ascension. Anyways, actually, I think they actually say his name is William Prince of Wales. But do you guys remember when the Prince of Darkness died on the birthday of Ozzy Osbourne, the Prince of Darkness? He died on the birthday of Prince George. Get it? The Prince of Darkness. And then Prince George of Wales. His birthday is 7/22. So that means the Prince of Darkness, Ozzy Osbourne, died on Prince George's birthday, which is the son of William. Yeah, there's okay. Remember how I was telling you Javon Evans is a riddle for Prince William? Well, look at this. Javon Evans, 67. You guys see this? He's been walking around with a 67 on his chest. And what is gematria of king? King equals 67. I just told you Javon and Evans are both names for Welsh. And who's the Prince of Wales? Well, that's William. And he walks around with the 67. Of course, we know why the 67 thing is big right now with the youngsters. Of course, we know satanic equals 67. But this, I believe, is for the king because I'm looking at the date March 8th, which is the 67th day of the year, folks. I was already looking at this date, and then this Javon Evans came, and he's wearing the 67 on his shirt. So I'm not saying Charles is going to abdicate the throne on the 67th day of the year in 5 days from now, but it's possible. I don't really think it's going to happen on that day. I think we could get another news story with Andrew or with somebody else in the royal family, maybe. I don't know, but we'll see what happens on this March 8th, because March 8th is a huge important day to the royal legacy of William. And I will get into that in another decode, but it's an important day, March 8th. It's also, remember when LeBron James broke the scoring record, which was at 3838? He did that on the 38th day of the year. There's a bunch of riddles here. So I got off topic here. Let's go back to the actual topic of this decode, the Strait of Hormuz. So I was talking about the Z's, okay? And this is what's going to happen now, guys. This attack is going to make the oil prices go up, which is in turn going to make the shipping prices go up and the flying prices and the cars, everything's going to go up. So how long are they going to, is this going to be closed down? And how high is the oil going to go? The oil prices here in Germany are already going off the roof, out of super high, and in a lot of places in Europe as well. And again, in the United States, it's a bit cheaper still because of the United States also has its own oil. But what I'm saying is this is a huge part of this, and it's a huge plan to make traveling more hard and more expensive, to make groceries more expensive, to make everything more expensive. Okay. And Hormuz is named after, it comes from the pronunciation of the Zoroastrian god Ahura Mazda. And this is interesting because remember, Ahura Mazda is the god of Persia and the Zoroastrianism. We got another Z here. Now remember, in Zoroastrianism, there's 101 names for God. Okay, and this is a huge number because 101 is the gematria of Hormuz. Look. You see how Hormuz equals 101? This is another name for the god Ahura Mazda, who has 101 names in, like, see, you guys, if you just go down, you can see there's 101 names, right? not going to go through all of them here, of course, but you guys can see there's 101 names. And if you type in 101 names of God in Gematria, it equals 101. So again, the 101 names of God equals 101. Another name for that God is Hormuz, which is the Strait of Hormuz, which is 101. And this all connects to this Strait of Hormuz, which again is all connected to Persia and Iran, which is where this religion comes from, right? So there's a huge connection here to Zoroastrianism. And remember, Saudi Arabia. Oh, I forgot the most important part, guys. I can't believe throughout this whole decode, I forgot the most important part of this. So you know how this oil stuff is going on right now. Look at this. If you search on Google, when was oil discovered in Saudi Arabia? You guys see that? Oil was discovered in first commercial quantities in Saudi Arabia on March 3rd. Are you coding me? Guys, today is the anniversary of the discovery of oil in Saudi Arabia. Are you kidding me? And this is what this is causing. It's causing an oil problem. And you're just telling me that this blood moon falls on the anniversary of this? And how many years has it been? How many years has it been since they discovered oil in Saudi Arabia? 88 years. It's been 88 years today that they discovered oil in Saudi Arabia. And now this is basically the worst thing that's came out of this attack so far, is that the Strait of Hormuz is closed. And it's been exactly 88 years. So you guys wonder what this is really all about, right? And what equals 88 in Gematria? Trump. They're playing the Trump card, guys. They don't want you traveling. They don't want you to buy cheap groceries. They want you to have to pay for everything with your hard-earned money and pay out to wazoo because this oil prices are going to go up. Hopefully that's not what happens, but it seems like that's what's coming. And you're telling me that it's 88 years since they've discovered oil in Saudi Arabia, and now Trump is the one who causes this, and Trump equals 88. And again, it's pretty obvious that this is what this is all about, the oil, right? And think about how important oil is to the world and how important oil is to, the Bible even. You get anointed with oil. Makes me think of the Oilers in hockey this year, maybe something to look out for. But yeah, 88 years ago, guys, which is 1056 months, which 156, 9/11 is the 156 prime. Today is also 9/11. If you go to the founding date of the United States, today is 9/11, 88 days. Guys, are you coding me? Tomorrow is going to be 2996 months since the founding of the United States. Do you guys know what that number is? Oh my gosh. The number 2996 represents the total number of people killed on 9/11/2001. And tomorrow is 2996 months after the founding of the United States. Oh my. I didn't know that, guys. This is new to me. That's really what it is, man. 2996. And all this stuff going on with the Arabs right now, with, connecting to the hijackers. I mean, what's the odds of that? 2996? I guess we got to watch out for tomorrow also. That's wild, man. 2996 months. That's also 9/11, 88 days. Guys, that's really crazy, man. It's 9/11, 88 days from the founding of the United States, which is 2996 months, which is the amount of people who died on 9/11. Are you coding me? So yeah, tomorrow is a huge day. I'm not saying anything really astronomical is going to happen, but I mean, wow, that's some pretty interesting alignments. Anyways, you guys get the gist. You got Aramco. I was going to talk about Aramco. I just can't remember. Think about how the name is Aramco, like a ram. Oh yeah, look at this. Aramco equals blood moon. I just told you today is exactly 88 years since oil was founded in Saudi Arabia, and the company out of Saudi Arabia today, the Blood Moon, the name of their company equals Blood Moon, Saudi Aramco. And remember, I showed you that the Z word also equals 105 and 42, right? Look. So Saudi Aramco equals the Z word and equals Blood Moon. How about that? And Aramco, like a ram, like a war, like Mars is the ram. So yeah, you got that too. Anyway, I think I've hit on all the main points here. Let me jump into the chat for a few minutes, and then we're going to wrap this up. Yep. Today is also 2996 months also, if you add the day. Ramadan. Yeah. Aramco. Ramadan. Yeah. Good one. 2996 is from the Roman numeral for 9/11. How is it from? Explain to me how 2996 is. Trying to think about how that would be. Yeah, thank you to Logical Annie. I appreciate that, and thank you for being here. Don't forget to smash those likes if you guys enjoyed the. Hopefully, this was informational and you learned something and you saw through some things. If you enjoyed, please hit those likes as always. Thank you guys. The Suez Canal, somebody's talking about Zeus. Interesting. Yeah, Zeus, Suez. Migu says 8,940 days since 9/11. Skull and Bones equals 894 in Sumerian. Yeah, wow. 33 date numerology. Trey Patton said something about 33 date numerology. Tomorrow does have 33 date numerology. If you add it up, 4 plus 3 plus 26 equals 33. Maybe that's what he was talking about. Yeah, tomorrow. Okay, yep. Thank you to Not of This World. Appreciate you being here. Thank you to all the people that showed up and watched today. 272 of you in the chat now. Thank you, Jose. I really appreciate you, friend. Thank you also to Paul. Thank you to Migu. Don't forget to go support his channel, Gematria Book on YouTube. Just type in, I think if you just type in Gematria Book, it'll come up. Or you can drop your link in the chat if you want, brother. Anyone that's in the chat that has their own channel, you can drop your link. And guys, one last little promo before we get off here. Do not forget about tonight is I'm pulling double duty again tonight because I'm going to be traveling over the next few days. So I'm getting everything out now before. But do not forget to head over to Ball Don't Lie. Tonight, we will be having our Eye to Eye podcast where we're going to be covering more of these riddles and things that are happening. So here's the channel, and here is the video right here. So make sure you guys go and set on your notifications for that. And again, also don't forget to check out The Illusion. He's been live tonight. Great decoder as well. As always, Gematria85, the guy who created the calculator, Decoding Our Reality, another good channel. But here's the one I was trying to find, Gematria book. Let's get him to 1,000 subs, guys. There's 257 people in this chat right now. If all 257 people go over and help get him to 1,000, he'll be over 1,000. Even if only 200 of you go over there, he'll be at 1,000 subs. And trust me, his information, he doesn't post as much as me, but when he does post, it's great. He said he made a post today, mentioned that he's keeping an eye on March 7th, 2026 regarding King William. Oh, wow. LeBron James will be 41 years and 67 days old on March 7th. Guys, that's crazy. Did you guys know that Prince William was born? He was born in 1982. And he's born 1982 days before 9/11? Or 19... So check this out. William is born 1982 days before 9/11, and he's born in 1982. I mean, what's the odds of that? Also, that's 722 days. Like 722 divided by 7 is pi. Now, check this out. LeBron James, right? The King James. Check out the date duration between LeBron James and Prince William. 923 days between LeBron James and Prince William. Now, what is that? That's the gematria of LeBron James. You see that? LeBron James, born 923 days after William, and LeBron James equals 923. I mean, what's the odds of that? And I know you had mentioned something. What was it that you mentioned earlier, Migu, about the 114? Let me just end it with that, because I know you mentioned something about the 114. Revelation 12 sign on 923, yep. 923 is a very important day. Oh, yeah, today Israel is 77 years, 293 days old. 77293 is the 114th star number. World War equals LeBron James equals 114. World War equals 114. And I know there was another one you said. What's the other 114? World War equals 1275. That's interesting. Wasn't there one more 114 that you had given me? There was another one that was really big. Can't remember it now. Anyway, let's just wrap this up. No, I just thought there was another gematria connection with the 114 besides World War. I thought there was another gematria word that equals 114 that you shared. But yeah, anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. And I'm just going to wrap it up. It's getting late here. Don't forget to come over to our live stream later tonight on Ball Don't Lie. And I'll see you guys then, I guess, right? So have a good night. God bless you all. And we'll see you later. Peace.